Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be a fairly short video, and it's going to talk about who actually votes in America based on statistics from the 2008 presidential election. But this is fairly common and has been common for pretty much every election. So I would write this down on a scrap piece of paper somewhere and keep it in with the notes. If you want to write it in the white margins of your notes, that's perfectly fine. So the most likely person to vote among genders is women. Women vote 65.7% of the time, whereas men only vote 61.5% of the time. When it comes to race, white people vote slightly more often than black people, 66.1% of the time, and blacks vote 64.7% of the time. This might seem like it's very close, but if you look at the percentage, that has whites voting much more often, or a significantly higher number, because whites make up roughly 65% of the population, whereas blacks make up roughly 12 to 13% of the population. Then you have Hispanics, who make up roughly 13 to 14% of the population, vote at a 49.9% rate, and then you have Asians who vote at a 47.6% rate. So far, the most likely person to vote would be a white woman, and we're going to keep adding attributes here in just a second. So it says turnout rates with age. People over the age of 55 are more likely to vote. And honestly, so elderly people are more likely to vote. 55 to 74 is typically elderly people have more free time. 55 is about the start of most retirement. They actually also have been voting for longer, so they know how the process works. A lot of times it's intimidating to younger voters who don't actually know how the voting process works, but it's super simple, especially if you watch the video right before this one. Once you fill it out, you show up, you tell them your name, they give you a ballot, and you vote. All right, coming over here, the higher your level of education, the more likely you are to vote. People with an advanced degree, meaning a degree past a bachelor's degree, so a master's or a doctorate, are 85.5% likely to vote. So far we have an elderly white woman who has an education is the most likely person to vote. If you look right here, if you are married, 69.9% of married people vote. So married people are more likely to vote than divorced or widowed or never married folks. And typically married people vote for the same candidate. Not always, but you can. Rich people vote more often than people in poverty. If you make more than $100,000 in your household, you have a 91.8% chance of voting. And that's because rich people typically have more to lose, which means they want to keep their politician in office. Oftentimes people in poverty don't think their vote matters, which is not correct. In the 2016 election, Donald Trump won Wisconsin by less than, I think, 1% of the registered voters in Michigan, which could have drastically changed the election. I can't remember if I said Wisconsin or Michigan. It was Michigan, less than 1% of the actual voters. So if literally just 4,000 or 5,000 more people would have came out, the election could have gone completely different, and we could have a completely different president. So don't think your vote doesn't matter, because it does if you go vote. People who are employed are more likely to vote, at almost 10% more likely to vote than unemployed folks. And the number one reason for people not voting is they are too busy. A lot of people have argued in the past that the election day should be a national holiday. So every 4 years, election day, you have the whole day off from work. Everybody closes down, and you go have your opportunity to vote. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. So to summarize, the person who actually votes in America is an elderly woman who is rich and has an education and is white and married and employed. I hope that helps out. I look forward to seeing you. Please let me know if you have any questions.